Hello friends, in today's lecture we will be talking on classes and objects. This is very important concept in object oriented programming. So let's see how to declare a class. Now first of all, class is what? So we can say class is the collection of data members and member functions. So here we can see how to declare a class. So the syntax of class is, first of all, we will be using a keyword named as class. To declare class, we will be using a keyword named as class. Then after the class name, this is user defined name. Whatever the name we need to keep, that can be considered for the class name. But we need to keep in mind that the name which we are going to use must not be a keyword. Then after it comes access specifiers. We already discussed about access specifier in the previous video. We have public, private and protected access specifiers. So here we will be specifying that all the data members and member functions are of which type, whether those are public, private or protected. Then it comes data members and member function. At last we'll be closing the braces and we'll be putting the semicolon. So in total, class contains keyword class, class name, access specifier, data members and member functions. Now let's take a simple example. Here I am creating a class for student. So I have used a keyword class. Student is my class name. I want to make all my data member and methods as public. So I am using access specifier public and putting colon over there. After that, since I am taking student class, I need to take two information about a student. One is the name of the student and second is the roll number of the student. So that I have taken S name and roll number as data members. And this is the member function, which is basically to use for manipulating the data members. So this is my simple class structure. Now we try to understand what we mean by data members and member functions. So data member is nothing but a simple variable, but those are the variables which belongs to a particular class. So what data members we are supposed to take? We are supposed to take a data member according to the requirement of the class. For example, if we are creating the class of student and we need to store the information of a student. So what sort of data we required? We required roll number, we may require student name, semester, marks and percentage. So whatever the information we required for a student, we can keep those information as my data members. And we are giving appropriate data type for each data member. We can see here student name. It's a character, but it is not a single character. It must be a bunch of characters so that it is character array. Marks. So I am not going to store only marks of one subject. I am going to store the marks of 6 different subjects. So that I have taken marks as integer array. Likewise, if I am working with a book class, if I want to store the information about a book, then what can be the data members? So book ID, book name, publisher, price, edition, these are my data members. Suppose I am working with the employee class. I am storing the information of an employee. So employee ID, employee name, mobile number, address, basic salary, gross salary, all these are my data members. So it depends on the user that what sort of information user wants to get for a particular class, and those are considered to be data members. So it is very simple. Data members are user specific. Whatever user wants to take, he or she can able to take, an appropriate data type is to be taken. Next comes member function. Now member functions are simple user defined functions. Now what is the purpose of member functions? So we have declared some data members over here. Now how to get the values for this data member and how to use its value for calculation. So that can be done with the help of member function. So how member functions can be defined? So it is same as user defined function. First of all, it comes with the return type, then the function name and then the argument. Here it comes the body of the function. Very simple example we are taking here. Suppose I am declaring a class student and containing two data members like student name and roll number. So I have declared one member function. The return type is void because it is not going to return anything. The name of that member function is get data and it is not taking any argument, so that the argument section is blank. And the purpose is to take the data from user, so that I have used C in student name and C in roll number to take the value of student name and roll number from the user. I have taken another data member just to display this data on the screen. So that I have defined one member function named as print data. Again, the return type is void because it is not going to return anything, and the argument is also blank. What it does, it only prints the value of student name and the value on the screen. So member functions are basically used to manipulate data members which we have taken in the class. Now let's take another concept, object of a class. Now what is object? Object is a runtime entity of a class. Now see, in this example, this is my class student, two public data members as name and roll number, one method I have declared get data, and in main function I am creating the object s1 and s2. Now how to create object? We know that if I need to declare a variable a of integer type, so I used to write integer a. Here I am creating the object s1 and s2 which are of student type. The data type is student, so that I have written student s1 comma s2, means s1 and s2 are the variables of student type, and since these are variables of class, it is known as object. Now just try to understand the memory. Once you create this statement student s1 s2, in memory there will be one block created. This is just to understand, this is not actually being created, but this is for understanding that one big box is being created which is named as s1. Why? Because the name of the object is s1. Now in this big box there are two small boxes will be created. Why two small boxes? Because we have two data members, one is s name and another one is roll number. So that in s1 there are two data members, so two boxes. The size of this s name will be 10 bytes. Why 10 bytes? Because s name is of character and character occupies 1 byte, but there are 20 characters, so that 20 bytes. And roll number is of 2 bytes, so 20 and 2, this is 22. So s1 occupies 22 bytes. Same way, whenever you are creating s2 object, another big box is being created, and in that s2 box there are two data members s name and roll number. Again this will occupy 20 bytes and this will occupy 2 bytes. So s2 will occupy 22 bytes. In this manner s1 and s2 are separate and having its own memory. So this is how objects been created in the C++. Now how to access member functions or data members using object? So it can be accessed using this particular syntax, object name, then we will be using dot operator, and then member function or data member name. So here object name is s1, we'll be using dot and then get data. So get data is my member function name. So when I write s1 dot get data, this statement will call get data function, and whatever the value will be taking from user will be stored in this s1's s name and roll number. So this is how we can able to access member functions and data members using object. Suppose I want to access s name, so I can write here s1 dot s name, or I can write s1 dot roll number. So I can also access data members using objects. Now let's take one example. So here this is the whole program in which I have taken a class student, data members are public, roll number and student name. I have declared one member function named as get data, which is there to take the value of student name and roll number, and print data, which is going to print the value of student name and roll number. Now in main function what we have done, we have created two objects. So once this line is being executed in memory, this particular block will be generated, one for S1, one for S2. In S1 two boxes, why two boxes? Because student name and roll number. In S2 student name and roll number. Now when S1 dot get data will be called, it will call this get data function, but this get data function is being called by S1. So whenever the value entered by student name, it will be entered in S1 dot student name. So suppose I am entering XYZ, so XYZ will be written in this particular memory location. Then after roll number, so roll number is again S1 dot roll number. So suppose I am entering 1, will be saved in that particular location. Now if I am calling S2 dot get data, so again get data function will be called, but this time get data function is being called by S2 objects. So whatever the value of student name I am taking will be stored in S2. So suppose I am taking PQR, then PQR will be saved over there, and the value of roll number which I am taking will be of S2 dot roll number. So if I am entering 2, that 2 will be stored in S2 dot roll number. So this is how a simple get data function is being called twice, but once it has been called by S1, so values will be stored in S1, and next time it is being called by S2, so values will be stored in S2. After that, during print data, it will generate the output. So here we can see the output. So S1 dot print data, that will generate output, that is first two lines. Student's name is XYZ and roll number is 1. You can see in S1 XYZ and 1 is there, and during S2 dot print data it will print PQR and 2. So this is how my whole program execute. Now we just demonstrate the same program. Here we have declared the same class student along with the data member. Two data members are there, roll number, student name, and two member functions are there. In main function we have created two objects, S1, S2. We are calling get data function using S1 and S2, and we are calling print data function using S1 and S2. Now we execute this, control F9. So once I will execute this code, I need to enter value of student name, that is XYZ. I am entering the roll number, that is 1. Now this data will be stored in S1 object. Now I am entering for S2, PQR and roll number is 2. This data is being stored for S2. Now it will print the answer. So when we see the output, we can see this type of output, XYZ and 1, PQR and 2. So this is our classes and objects can be declared in C++, and it can be used to access the data members and member function. Thank you for watching the video.